Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here. Right now, we are talking defensive standouts from the Jaguars preseason week one, I should say, matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. We did the offensive standouts yesterday. We're going to get into the defensive standouts here today, and then we will be moving on to Detroit. The Jaguars and Lions, they do have joint practice. We did drop a joint practice update. I'm not up there in Michigan this week, but I am obviously scouring Twitter and all that fun stuff and trying to provide as many updates as I possibly can for you guys so you can have all the latest information. But if you want to go check that out, you absolutely can on our channel. But getting into defensive standouts here, Devon Hamilton, he was wrecking fools out there. He closed out 2022 really strong. He's been borderline dominant throughout training camp, and he brought that to the field in the Jaguars' first preseason game against the Cowboys. Only 4 snaps for him, but they were really, really impressive. Pushing the pocket, was able to get a sack, was able to eat up blocks against the run. I had a 2 on Devon Hamilton back in 2020. Just want to give myself a little pat on the back for that. So I've been fired up to see him playing well. When the Jaguars landed him in the 3rd round of that 2020 NFL draft, I was really excited for it. I just really enjoyed being able to cover and watch him grow throughout his first few years here in Jacksonville. Obviously get paid by the team this offseason and now see what he's doing after getting paid. He's a hard worker. He's really athletic for his size and a big, powerful interior defensive lineman that's doing really good things for the Jaguars. I think he was their best defensive player, although it was in extremely limited reps, right? Devin Lloyd, he looked fantastic for real. He was swimming upstream a little bit in year 1 after the hamstring injury in training camp. Obviously didn't really have any training camp time to get ready for the regular season. But as a rookie starting linebacker, it's very difficult to succeed at a high level anyways, regardless of if you were in training camp or not. But he looked great against the Cowboys. He was filling gaps. He was where he was supposed to be in coverage. He's looked that way in training camp so far. You also heard from joint practices that he had a hell of a first practice against the Lions. So Devin Lloyd, he's really starting to look like the guy you expected them to get in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. Trading up to get him, he was a player I had top 10 on my board. Love Devin Lloyd coming out of Utah. You're starting to see him put it together. Hopefully he can continue this momentum throughout the rest of the preseason and into the regular season for the Jaguars, obviously. Now, Gregory Jr., another second-year player, not even talking about the turnovers, which were awesome, right? He was able to recover a fumble on special teams and also punch out a ball from Dallas Cowboys running back that was on his way to the end zone, it looked like. So really cool to see Gregory Jr. being able to do that. But talking about him in coverage, he was sticky in man coverage, very fluid mover, a good athlete overall. And then in zone, he was playing his leverages, he was playing his keys. He looked like where he was supposed to be, was barely targeted at all in this game, playing several, I think, 28 reps for the Jaguars on the defensive side of the ball. Played primarily in the slot, which is what you expect from him. Did it at a high level. So really good stuff from Gregory Jr. and his 2023 preseason debut. You hope to continue to see him play at that level or even higher so he can potentially be able to grow into a role for the Jaguars in 2023. A guy that has the athleticism to play man coverage from the slot. If he can continue to build confidence and continue to play at a high level, I think you could see him in that role at times because Trey Herndon, the Jaguars starter at nickel, he does struggle in man coverage. He's a good zone coverage player. He's good against the run, but in man coverage against some of the better slot receivers in the league, he just doesn't have the athleticism to keep up. So hopefully Gregory Jr. can continue to play that way. Also Christian Braswell, a rookie this year, a late round pick for the Jaguars, cornerback, more of an outside corner. He's missed a lot of camp dealing with a hamstring injury that he's been battling through, but he returned and he played outside against the Cowboys, almost exclusively outside for the Jaguars. He looked really good, and he got a late interception that should have sealed the game but for a Snoop Conner fumble. But never mind that, the Jaguars were still able to win the game and get the job done. But on that interception, he showed reactive athleticism in zone coverage, quick twitch movements. He was able to read the quarterback's eyes in zone coverage, and he was not in the right leverage to be able to make a play on that ball. He had outside leverage. The ball was thrown inside. But again, his quick reactions, his quick twitch movements, he was able to go get that football and go down to the ground and get a big interception for the Jaguars. Again, that should have sealed the game, so it was a clutch play. But he looked good throughout in coverage, right? A lot of zone coverage looks, some man coverage looks as well. He did have a couple penalties, which you obviously need to avoid. But for me, I think that Christian Braswell looked really good in coverage overall, and a guy that has the athleticism you're looking for someone who can contribute outside at cornerback. I think he has a higher ceiling than Buster Brown, who is currently ahead of him on the depth chart. We'll see how all that plays out, but I think he stood out in a big way in coverage for the Jaguars in their preseason debut. Now, a couple other guys to get into here. Jordan Smith, he had a couple of tackles for loss. Both of them were unblocked, where just nobody decided to get a hand on him. He was able to sprint in the backfield and make good plays. He made the plays that were there for him. So good for him. Obviously, they weren't plays that were unbelievably impressive on his part because he was unblocked, but he still made the plays that were there. So good to see for him. Yasir Abdullah was able to get a sack. He didn't do a whole lot in terms of his pass rush outside of that sack, but on that sack, you saw him use his speed to get around the edge, to bend the pocket, bend at the top of the arc, and get a quarterback sack. So very good stuff for Yasir Abdullah there. Nice to see in his preseason debut a guy that can bring a little bit of a changeup. The Jaguars have talked about that. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, they're both big and athletic. I think Josh Allen's a little bit faster than Trayvon Walker. Walker's a little bit bigger than Josh Allen. But Yasir Abdullah, he's a guy that's a lot smaller than both of them, a lot faster than both of them, can be a little bit of a changeup for that defense when it comes to pass rush off the edge. Antonio Johnson, he wasn't perfect out there, but he was out there hitting people. He was playing well on special teams as well. So good stuff for Antonio Johnson being able to get out there and finally hit some people live and not feel bad about nailing your teammate in practice, right? He was able to lay the wood a couple times. Roy Robertson Harris early on, he had a beauty of a long arm where he was able to get in there and it led to a quarterback hit, a broken up play for the Dallas Cowboys offense. It was good to see that from Roy Robertson Harris. We will see how the Jaguars perform in preseason week 2, but those are my defensive standouts. I will do a special teams standout video as well if y'all are interested in that. You can let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. You can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop if you want to support the channel even further. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good one.